Good afternoon, everybody. It's Alex again with another video today. Let's talk Randy Leach case. Randy Leach missing out of Linwood, Kansas, April of 1988. The majority of our followers know exactly who we're talking about. And in regards to Randy's case, we are going to talk about his parents' car that his mother drove that Randy was actually driving the night that he went missing. So Dennis and I and the girls and everyone, one of the things that we had talked about over the last 6 months was basically trying to recreate some of the rumors, accusations, situations that dealt around the car that Randy was driving. Hey, Dan. So basically, what we have been trying to do, and we've been trying for a few months now, excuse me, is we have been looking for a 1985 Dodge 600 four-door sedan car to try and recreate some of the rumors, stories, accusations, hearsays, whatever the correct word you want to use. We have been wanting to acquire one of these cars to recreate possibly what could have happened. We want to either prove or disprove some of the... Hello, Tamara. We're wanting to prove or disprove some of these things that said might have happened. So, one of the things that we would want to do with one of these cars is we want to know if the car had a full tank of fuel, how far could this car drive on a full tank of fuel? I think according to the literature, so last year when I first, when Tammy and I first got involved with Muddy Waters and Dennis, I went on eBay and I bought the factory original 1985 Dodge 600 brochure. Everybody knows what a dealer brochure is. You go in, you're looking at new cars. You ask the salesman, hey, do you have a brochure or some literature I can take home and read up on the car? So I was lucky enough to find one that was pretty much brand new from 1985. I think I paid like $15 for it. But I bought it from eBay, and then, I ended up giving it to Dennis. And I thought, man, this would be awesome to have because we can look at the pictures of the car. We can look at the details of the car. We can look at the specs of the car. And, if the day comes where we were able to find something, a car that was buried or in a creek, and there was parts of it sticking out of the water, I thought, man, we might be able to use this to document for research purposes, having this to look at it and try to tell, is this part of the dash, could it be this car, something like that. So I bought it for research purposes. So, one of the things with this car is I believe it came with 3 different engines. And of course, it had a 4-cylinder turbo engine. So, looking at all these different specs to the car, one of the things we wanted to do was, of course, fill it up and see how far you could get on a tank of fuel. Would the car go 200 miles on a tank of fuel? I think the car, if I remember right, had a 13 or a 17 gallon fuel tank. And I think we found that out by going on Rock Auto. And at one time, I think we went on Rock Auto and looked what a replacement fuel tank would be for it. And I think it was a 13 or a 17 gallon tank. But anyways, we were trying to see how far the car could go on a tank of fuel. There was rumors that Randy might have put a couple bucks of fuel in it, or his mom and dad put fuel in it. But, that was something we were trying to understand. And then the whole next part is it leads into how many different stories and rumors, etc., of what could have possibly happened to Randy in the car. If he had drove off into a creek, or he had drove off into a pond on somebody's property. Things we want to document is, we know the police were out looking. We know there was all kinds of people out on the foot, on the ground, boots on the ground, walking, riding three-wheelers, four-wheelers. There was people on horses, supposedly. We had people in an airplane flying, just above the treetops, basically looking, in the immediate Linwood area. So, what kind of evidence would have been made? What would have happened? What would the average person have seen if Randy would have drove the car through a field into the pond? In April of 1988, the vegetation was just starting to grow. Some of the grass was turning green a little bit. Even though we were in a drought, there was still, the season change was happening. So would the car have left tracks in the grass or brush where the car had drove? Would it leave tracks going from, the grass to dirt to water if it went into a pond? So these are all experiments, that we want to try to either prove or disprove. And we want to do these, little tests to basically, document, yes, the car would have left tracks in the grass. Of course it would have left tracks going from the grass to the dirt into the pond. What would the car look like if it was underwater and somebody flew over in an airplane a couple 100 feet? These are things we want to document. Of course, we would document it with a drone. There was rumors that maybe Randy had gone off the road and the car has been setting all these years right off the road in a ditch, and the vegetation grew over the car. We want to place the car somewhere and watch as the season changes and the vegetation grows and the trees grow their leaves and the brush turns green. We want to document how long would it take for the car to disappear from the side of a road or a highway. That's another experiment. And last year we actually, where I live, there is a white semi truck setting off the side of a road by a barn, a couple 100 feet from the highway. And literally the week that Randy disappeared, I started taking pictures a couple times a week, and I was sharing that, with a group of people. And I was saying, look, this is how long it took, we did it week by week till the point where you couldn't see the white semi truck no more. So of course, a 4-door sedan car that was gray in color would probably disappear a lot quicker than a semi truck would. So basically we have so many things that we want to do and test. Supposedly another rumor is that the car was buried. So I am going to we have a couple experiments which is going to require the car at some point to become non-running with fluids in it, meaning I will have to drain the antifreeze, the engine oil, any type of power steering fluid, brake fluid, transmission fluid. I think these cars were front wheel drive, so draining that, because yes, we are going to put this car in a pond. Yes, I will. And of course, draining the gas out of it. We are going to time, and we have an experiment where I am going to bury the car. I'm going to dig a hole with the machine, and we are going to take, how long does it take to bury this car in a field somewhere? in the middle of the night, what kind of noises would the equipment make, and how far away could you hear something, to the point where you couldn't hear somebody working a piece of equipment in the quiet night of the middle of the night. There's so many different things that, we want to do. And of course, in the end, we're going to take the car to the crusher and we're going to document to show everyone, every bit of this that we're going to do, and everything that we're going to do is some accusation, rumor, something that was ever stated in documents or hearsay. We're going to try to recreate this with this vehicle. So the car in question, of course, is a 1985 Dodge 600 four-door sedan. Like I said, we have been trying for months to find one, and we have found a couple. The problem is there is quite I would say that the majority of these cars were, crushed, gone to the scrapper, because, these cars are, anywhere from 35, let's just say 35 to 40 years old at this point. There's not many of them left. And believe it or not, they have quite a following for collectors now. So we have found a couple nice ones that are really nice, and they are anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 or higher. That's to be honest, that's not in our budget, to spend that kind of money just to destroy something. We've been trying to find something, a lot cheaper. Some of these cars are not in the Kansas, Missouri area. We did have a good lead on a Chrysler New Yorker, but that car has sold. I had reached back out to them, and that car was in Kentucky. So getting back to the car, this is kind of how this car plays out in trying to find one. Is we can't find one really anywhere within reason, to use. So through doing research, we have found out that there was the Dodge 600 four-door sedan, and that is like this car right here. I'll click on it. Maybe not. So, this is a two-door version, but let me click on a four-door version here. So, of course, there's, this is the picture that most people see. So this is the 1985 Dodge 600. Okay. So there is also, this car came off the same assembly line, and this is a 1985 Plymouth Caravelle. This car came off the same assembly line as the Dodge 600, because, many of you know there was Dodge, there was Plymouth, and there was Chrysler. So everybody had their own version of the same car, basically. So at this point, we are looking for either a Dodge 600, we're looking for a Plymouth Caravelle, and then there is the Chrysler New Yorker, which once again, it is basically the same car. The only difference is some of the front fascia and rear fascia, which is the front, like the nose cone, like the grill, the lights, the bumper, same as the rear of the car, the lights, the bumper, etc. It's just a little bit different. The trim on the car, maybe the dash, the seats, things are a little bit different. But for the basic information and what we're trying to accomplish is the cars all had pretty much the same motor. They pretty much were all the same weight. They came off the same assembly line. They pretty much used all the same drivetrain parts, etc. So at this point, we've had to open up to trying to find one of these other versions. So that's what we're currently working on and trying to find, because, you know, we have less than a month away now to start this experiment, you know, and this is the 35th year that Randy has been missing. The car has been missing. You know, I've joined all the K car clubs on Facebook, all the little cult following of these cars. I have joined. I have looked and looked. I've asked people what they have for sale. You know, we're not wanting a show car by any means. I don't care if it's rusted. I really don't care if it's beat up. We just need one that's running and driving to recreate this stuff. And believe it or not, nobody wants to let go of anything. These things are like diehard collector cars now. So, you know, it's been quite the journey the last, you know, couple months trying to find one of these and track one down. You know, there's a lot of two-door versions. There's a lot of two-door convertible versions. And of course, that's not what we want. We want a four-door version that is as close to the original thing as possible. Yes, you know, there has been people that have asked, you know, how much do you guys search trying to find the original car? And yes, we have done VIN searches. You know, we have searched in and out. I've had a couple nasty arguments with people on Facebook about this and trying to find the car. And, you know, to be honest, I'm not trying to find the original car, because at this point, I totally believe the car is long gone, buried, went to the crusher, you know, etc., whatever. So yeah, my search for trying to find the actual car, VIN number specific, you know, I don't look for that car no more. I'm just trying to find one that we can use for research purposes and trying to document and trying to prove or disprove stuff that's been talked about. So if anybody has any leads, if anybody, you know, possibly, you know, I do search Facebook Marketplace. I have ads on Craigslist. You know, we have friends of ours, friends of Muddy Waters, who are close, you know, friends, great friends who, you know, they help look for these cars. You know, if anybody has anything, please reach out to us. If anybody knows where one's at, even in a junkyard or a pick and pull, you know, something like that. Somebody's grandparents has one. If somebody knows where there might be one setting in a field, you know, for the most part, these cars, from what the research, because Jeff, a member of Muddy Waters, he did a little research. You know, it looks like we are basically looking at 1983 through 88 is when this car was basically made. Even though it had a little bit of, you know, the front fascia or rear fascia had changed, or maybe the seating, the door panels, the dash, the same basic chassis car was, you know, looks like to be 1983 through 1988. So, you know, if anybody possibly knows of anything, any leads, anything, anywhere, please reach out to us at mwsar22@yahoo.com. You know, we would greatly appreciate it. You know, like I said, we are definitely trying to find answers. And this is just part of this case, you know, is trying to prove or disprove, you know, stuff that could have happened or didn't happen, you know, rumors, accusations, you know, true factual evidence, you know, and this is just part of doing the investigative work of trying to find out answers. So So I just wanted to say thanks. Sorry, didn't mean to ramble on so long about this. Everybody have a blessed day, and we will talk at you later. Thank you very much.